What's going on, guys? This is Slightly Educational Podcast, Episode 2. I'm Seth.
I'm Gabe.
And today our topic is marijuana and other drugs. And I just want to start asking you, Gabe, about any personal experiences you had with marijuana or, what are your thoughts on marijuana?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried it before? Or?
I have not, which is actually surprising.
Yeah. You have kind of a hippie vibe, too, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I haven't. And, but as an opinion on it, I'm not really against it. I don't really have a problem with it being legalized, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of experience with marijuana.
Okay.
And I think I really don't see that many arguments against it being legalized. Just rolling right into the legalization of marijuana. Mm-hmm. The one argument I don't like is the marijuana in driving, and that there's not, an efficient way to tell someone, to pull someone over and tell someone...
Is that an argument against it?
Yeah, that's, especially because my aunt, they live in the Bay Area,
right.
And she voted against, obviously. It doesn't really matter, but she voted against it. Her reasoning be someone could just light up a joint and then, drive their car and then be impaired driving, which is true. But yeah. I think the, level of impairment that marijuana has when you're driving is not, real comparable to alcohol. People talk about driving on marijuana is equivalent to, driving while you're talking on the phone. You know what I mean?
I mean, which itself is kind of dangerous, I've seen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I'm saying it's not, a bad thing. The only thing I really worry about with the legalization of marijuana is people being, stoned at the workplace, but...
Maybe, but that could happen with any drug. One of the arguments against it, I guess, is that it's a gateway drug is common, and that it leads to people doing more, I guess, severe drugs like cocaine or whatever. It's a slippery slope argument, I guess. Mm-hmm. Not that I don't know. I mean, I think anything could really be a gateway drug. Mm-hmm. The main problem, I guess, I have with the criminalization of marijuana is that it's unfairly enforced, I guess, or disproportionately enforced, I guess. So it ends up, most of the people in jail right now, in the U.S. is the highest per capita imprisonment rate in the world, are there for minor drug offenses. Mm-hmm. So the fact that this whole war on drug that started, I guess, in the 90s or something, just leads to millions of people in jail for no reason other than that they were caught with drugs is, I don't agree with that.
And the thing is the other side. So recently I went for some work I do in the community. I went to this conference called CADCA, which stands for Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America. So it's all the fucking anti-drug people there in one room. And their arguments against not only marijuana, but the way that they go about being anti-drug is the big thing is prevention. Prevention. Right. They don't want to add any, which I think is odd actually, because they don't want to put into place any policies that would maybe limit, and this is more towards opioids and on that side of the spectrum. They don't want to put any policies into place that could limit the production of that. And I was thinking to myself, that is kind of odd why they're so focused on prevention education. They're not focused on...
I mean, I guess it's kind of like in health classes, always advocating for abstinence, I guess, the only way. They're not going to make sex illegal, right? They're just... They want to prevent it, I guess.
But what's odd is, guess who the key corporate sponsors to this conference are?
I'd assume tobacco companies, right?
Not even worse, dude. Purdue Pharmaceuticals, the company that produces OxyContin. Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, the company that produces Vicodin. And it's not... Because there are those, things where... where it's the tobacco companies have to put this much funding into anti-tobacco. Yeah. I don't know if that statute is what is the reasoning behind these corporate sponsors. Because they're not just sponsoring it. They're the CEO of Purdue Pharmaceuticals sits on the board of CADCA. They are... I think there's some shady shit going on, especially because seeing the leader of the nonprofit pull up in a custom Audi, a $70,000 Audi Q5, brand new.
Anything could be a nonprofit. The NCAA is a nonprofit.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know, but that's my take on it. And I think that I think marijuana kind of is the scapegoat for a lot of it. You know what I mean? I bet there's as good of an argument. There is as good of an argument to criminalize something like OxyContin or Vicodin, Yeah. And keep marijuana illegal. And there's also that argument that marijuana could help with people abusing painkillers.
It could. I guess. But then you might get something whatever, e-cigarettes were made to help smokers stop smoking. And then, of course, now they have to put all these regulations preventing Juul from selling their, flavored Juul pods in like 7-Elevens or something because it's targeting minors and stuff like that.
What do you think about the whole juuling thing? Because I remember like 2 years ago,
That was huge.
juuling. It's huge now. 2 years ago, juuling was like kind of a joke. Like people would be like, "Oh, you're juuling." Like no one really took it that seriously, and now it's like everyone's addicted. Like we see it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I guess it is kind of a problem, and I think the guys at the Juul company are very smart in marketing. Obviously, it's supposed to stop people from smoking, like get off their like, cigarettes and stuff. But they've been smart in like they make it colorful. They make it so you can charge it off USB. And I guess I'm not gonna go and claim that they're doing it to target minors, but they're definitely like doing a good job at selling somebody.
Yeah, they're definitely not targeting minors.
Yeah.
But I just think, I don't know, because I used to think, and I'm not a chemistry guy, I don't know the chemical makeup of the Juul pods, I don't know how healthy they are in relation to cigarettes, but I used to look at it as kind of a good thing, like, hey, you know, better that these kids are vaping than smoking cigarettes.
I guess, I think so. I mean, I guess it depends how often they do it, basically, so I mean.
But it's very prevalent among middle schoolers. That's the thing I find a little concerning is that, my girlfriend, her sister is in 8th grade, and they, all her friends are juuling. One of my good friends, his sister's in 7th grade, and, like, she was telling me about how kids just, like, juul in the bathroom.
They sell doors in the bathroom there?
Probably, yeah. But, I think that is more of an issue, because even, like, do you remember vaping being a thing?
Not in middle school.
Like, when we were in middle school. I don't remember, like...
I don't think so.
Kids vaping. I remember there's, like, a few, like, bad kids who would, like, have, like, those, like, blue e-cigs, you know? Or, like, those, like...
weird shape,
hookah pens, like, off-brand, third-party vapes, but nothing too extreme.
I don't know. I guess something I'll bring up, too, is that they're going to raise the smoking age in Virginia.
In Virginia to 21
18 to
for
21.
tobacco.
I think New Jersey did that, like, a month ago.
Yeah, honestly... I don't know how much that's gonna change.
I don't think that's saving any minors from smoking. But I don't like. I mean, like you can do a lot more things at 18. You can enlist in the army at 18. So I mean, like,
you can really like have sex at 18. You can be a porn star. At 18.
I mean, like, you're a legal adult at 18. So I don't necessarily know if a restriction like that is beneficial. I mean, I know that they raised the. I mean, obviously the age drink alcohol is 21 too. And I don't know if that lowered, like, I guess, I don't know what the point of raising it was for, is to, like, prevent drunk driving. So I don't know if that worked or not, but I don't know, I can't really see why they would, I mean, I can see why they would raise it, but, like, I don't know.
Probably a lot of, like, pressure from
like, families and stuff?
And there's a lot of people are against juuling in the new age, just because I can't blame them because of simply of what we don't know. We don't really know what is in the Juul pod. Like, it could be awful for you, you know? And I think that mystique.
Yeah, I mean, it's still nicotine in the pod. And I don't know what the levels are, and it might even be similar. I think
one Juul pod is equivalent to a pack of cigs in terms of, like, nicotine intake. Yeah.
So definitely I can see like it's definitely a problem, especially if, like you said, 7th graders are going around in the bathroom, so
I think though I don't know. I think the Juul is definitely like a sign of the times. And I think, do you think big tobacco companies, I know Philip Morris, the big tobacco company, are like really just going all in on this vaping. If you were a big tobacco company, would you be doing the same? Would you be following the same?
Oh yeah, I definitely would. Like I said, I would definitely start making things that look like things that kids would use. So like colorful pens, whatever. Charge on with your computer. Juul definitely has it right. Whatever they're doing, it's been working for them, even though they've been slapped on some regulations.
As someone with younger siblings, do you feel like a need to like warn them about
I don't know. I mean,
my
sister is like 7 years old, and my brother's 5. I mean, I do have a 9th grade brother as well. So, but I haven't talked to him. I'm not his dad. I'm not gonna sit him down. Talk about it, stuff like that. So,
and honestly, going back to marijuana, I think that marijuana is actually pretty beneficial. Personally, I think there are doubts. Obviously, like it affects your motor skills and it affects your judgment. Talking about one time, like marijuana and driving. One time I was driving impaired off marijuana and my lights were off, and people kept flickering their lights at me, to try and get me to turn my lights on. And I was so scared. I was so paranoid. I was like, why are these people flicking their lights at me? We thought that, like, there was some conspiracy and that the government was after us. And so we didn't realize that our lights were off. We were driving around probably for about 20 minutes, dark outside, lights off, and people just flickering their lights at us.
Yeah.
And we were had no idea until the end, until I was like, oh shit, my lights are off. And I turned them off. So that's an issue, I guess. That could have led to a crash.
Right.
But I don't think that there's enough justification to, like, keep marijuana illegal,
Yeah, I mean, you can make whatever legal you want in the name of safety, I guess. You could make... I think phones kill a lot more people driving than
probably
marijuana. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't think... Even if you do make it legal, I don't think you're stopping anyone who's going out... I mean, it's obviously illegal for you to smoke marijuana anyway, so, like... Yeah. Actually, no, you're a teen, though, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, so never mind then. But, I don't know. I don't think putting laws against it, I don't think raising the age is going to necessarily stop people anyway. So,
is there, going back to you personally, you said you've never really partaken in marijuana. Is there, like, a reason for that? Is it inaccessible, or is it just, like, you don't have the desire?
No, I mean, I've never went out of my way, and I've never had anyone offer it to me, so nothing like, no personal bias against it.
And what do you think about, because there's a lot of talk, and Portugal, something I want to bring up is Portugal in 2000, they were suffering from a big heroin epidemic. And as a means of trying to reduce the amount of heroin users, they decriminalized every single drug. So they just stopped charging people, like, no criminal charges for any drug charges. Yeah. And the actual rate of heroin abuse and addiction in Portugal went down. If the U.S. was to do something like that, that would be bold.
Yeah, it would.
But it probably would get shut down immediately.
It'd have to be by state, probably.
But, like, do you see that having a positive effect?
I think, I mean, especially, like, you hear about these, like, opioid epidemics, especially, like, rural places like West Virginia. I think that throwing people in jail isn't going to stop, like, this addiction crisis. I think that it's important that people... I assume in Portugal they had, like, rehabilitation centers, and I think having rehabilitation centers is important. So getting people the help they need, basically, and getting people help with their addiction to stop doing whatever they're doing is more important. The question is, I guess, who's going to pay for it? But
yeah, I mean, that's an issue for another episode. I think that's the big issue, is the rehabilitation and I think a lot of it stems from mental health. I think a lot of people that abuse drugs do it to kind of self-medicate underlying mental health issues. Yeah. And I think that if we were able to get better, like, I think it's hard to get mental health treatment, and there's not as much funding for it. So I think if we were able to increase that, then that's my take. That's my take on the issue. I think a lot of addiction stems from mental health.
Yeah, mental health is definitely a big issue, especially now. I think there was a report from the CDC is that the life expectancy in the U.S. actually went down this year because of issues with overdose and suicides, both related to mental health. So it's definitely a problem in the U.S. and definitely a growing problem. I don't know why. I don't know what's happening now that people are suddenly all...
Could it be social media? Could it be that, like, keeping up with the Joneses and everyone's always on Instagram and Snapchat seeing... because no one's going to post and be like, I had the most shitty day today, like, I feel fat and ugly,
right.
Like, everyone's posting pictures of them from the beach or pictures of them, like, out with friends having a good time. And do you think someone seeing that, not experiencing that, and seeing other people that their friends would experience that, even if that's a completely false representation of their real life, could trigger some sort of, I know what you're saying. My life is kind of shitty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that could definitely be a factor, and just seeing, like, how supposedly great these other people's lives are on social media could affect people, and then the fact that it's a lot easier, I guess, to get cyberbullied, if you want to bring up that term again. So, I mean, that could be a problem, mental health. That could be an issue, I guess. I mean, I guess it's also a sign that at least people aren't dying of, like, other diseases. That they live long enough to actually have mental problems, if that's a thing at all. But, I mean, people are dying of measles again, so I don't know how long that's going to last.
Maybe it's all cyclical. Maybe we'll start getting, like, smallpox and... what was the plague? The Black Plague again.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff, like, it's things like PTSD. People didn't used to have PTSD before, like, World War I. They didn't even know what to call it. They called it, like, shell shock at that point. They didn't know what it was. And then now, like, almost any soldier that comes back from war has PTSD.
Not even soldiers, just
anyone.
A lot of people.
Or just people in general. Yeah, you can be like live in a village or something. Mm-hmm. So definitely that. And it could be in part due to the fact that we just know more about mental health, so we can diagnose it more often, that more people have it. Obviously, we've been seeing real world effects, like people have been committing suicide more, which didn't happen in the past.
Have you ever experienced that where you've seen people on Instagram, on Snapchat, and you've been felt worse because you've been seeing how much fun other people are having fun? I put air quotations around fun because a lot of it is a false representation.
Yeah, no,
of their lives.
Yeah, definitely.
I can say personally, I've seen multiple times. I've seen on people's Snapchat stories, like a bunch of my friends hanging out. You know, maybe I'm not included in that. Seeing on Instagram a bunch of people that I'm like, hey man, I wish I was doing what that guy was doing. It has brought me down, not enough to the point where I'd say it's had a significant impact on my mental health. But
yeah, no, I'd say the same thing. I've definitely seen like, oh man, I wish I was there or something like that.
Yeah.
I've never gotten to the point where I ever feel depressed or like clinically depressed, but it's. Yeah, I guess it sucks sometimes, but...
And I feel like it's a lot of competition now. People, not only... They're seeing other people's lives. I've known, like seeing people on social media, like, I have to one-up this, I have to do this, I have to have this amount of followers, you know, to keep myself relevant. I think there's definitely a correlation between this new age of social media and, like, everyone being connected, everyone being able to hear everyone's thoughts and see what everyone's doing and see the persona that everyone's trying to put out there, their best persona. Right. I think that's definitely an impact on the mental health, which going back to what we were talking about with substance abuse.
Yeah.
Reach that. Another thing is, though, if you look at the areas that are most affected by substance abuse, and this I'm calling this the Seth Goodwin theory of opioid addiction. Write it down. You see the places that are most affected. It's like rural Pennsylvania, rural Ohio, Kentucky. You know, I think it's just a lack of things to do.
Yeah,
personally. Like, what are you going to do? You live in rural Kentucky. Like, what are you going to do? Like, drugs. That's what's there to do. What else? You know, they got, like, a derby once a year.
Mm-hmm. And those places also, like, Wyoming, Nebraska, they typically have, like, the higher, like, suicide rates in the country, too. So, I mean, it could just be that places like the people who live there just suffer from mental illness more often because of maybe isolation or whatever, which then goes back to like maybe it's not social media because it's isolation instead.
I don't know. It seems like, you know, you go to the urban areas, get involved in social media, then that's gonna bring down your mental health. You live in the middle of nowhere, that's gonna bring down your mental health.
The other way.
Yeah, just a lose-lose situation.
There's that place in West Virginia. It's called the Radio Quiet Zone. It's like a whole like. It's a large, like, you know, like 50 miles square, just where like you can't use like radio signals, like people don't have like Wi-Fi or anything, so just all radio quiet. The point of it is so that people like they can use like satellites or not satellites, like telescopes without being interfered. But people move there because some people feel like they get hurt by like the waves from Wi-Fi or something like that. So it's like a kind of self-contained like isolation zone basically.
Do you ever feel a need? I feel a lot like the need, the urge to get away, just go in the middle of nowhere and just ditch everything, all this social media, this technology, everything, and just go to the middle of nowhere and just get completely disconnected. I feel that urge a lot. Do you ever feel?
Oh no, I've never felt that urge. Like you're crazy, you're being alone, all that.
I don't know. I feel like maybe different strokes for different folks. Honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
Different people react to different settings differently. But going back to the Seth Goodwin theory, I think that less there is to do, more drugs there are to abuse. That's like an issue beyond, I think, anything we could think of. Is how do we make life more exciting for people in Ohio? And honestly, I think the answer is probably you can't.
You think they're just doomed?
Yeah, honestly, in terms, if they are abusing drugs because they're bored, Seth Goodwin theory, and there's nothing better to do, I think the only solution to that problem is to move somewhere else where there is more to do.
You don't think there's any possibility? I mean, you saw, like, in Portugal, I guess, if fitting into your theory, a lot of Portuguese people are out of work. Yeah. So they have nothing else to do. But clearly, that you said yourself that they managed to help the people who were addicted. So I don't think, that's not saying that they're doomed is necessarily the right answer.
I don't know. Maybe not they're doomed, but I don't know. It's tricky, but maybe some sort of, like, activities. You can see there's actually a lot of bills. There's a Drug-Free Communities Act, which we talked about a lot at CADCA. We actually had to go down to Capitol Hill and lobby with like Warner, Kane, and Byer, but I'm not a huge fan of Don Byer just because his office is like very, very tough to kind of get a meeting with, even like as one of his constituents. It's kind of tough, but that's a separate issue. Where we went down and talked about, you know, the Drug-Free Communities Act and the impact it's having. And obviously I can only speak from like an urban center where we don't really see opioid and drug addiction as much. Or if we do, it's not as obvious. And we don't have people like overdosing in the streets. Yeah. But all the people from like rural, I'm talking like mountain country Virginia, like not even like I'm talking the sticks. Like they said that the Drug-Free Communities Act had a like a positive impact. So maybe like,
what does it do specifically, I guess?
I don't know.
Are they building like basketball courts?
I don't know. I don't know. That's like building basketball courts, getting more like drug education. I don't know. I think health class is a very important thing too. Educating people on the dangers of drugs. Because I think it's one thing to tell people. This is where I go back to the prevention education thing that CADCA always preaches. It's one thing to tell someone not to do something. Yeah. But to like tell them the real life effects, like.
But I mean, like schools still do that all the time, and they do that at our school too. But it's still a problem. Matter of fact, they had one today for the juniors.
I was supposed to present one.
Oh, really?
I missed it. Yeah, because my phone charger hasn't been working, so I wasn't able to get I set all the reminders for things I have to do on my phone, and then when my phone is dead and goes, because this is not the first time it's been happening. I've gone through like 2-day periods. My phone has just been dead, so I was unable to get the message. But I was supposed to give that presentation, but a lot of it is it's kind of just telling someone that you shouldn't do cocaine because it can kill you. But it's not telling people you shouldn't do cocaine. This is what can happen. It can, drain your bank account, get you addicted. I think if you teach people more about the drug and make them more knowledgeable about the drug than only knowing it as a harmful substance. Could you tell me that much about crystal meth? No. Other than that, it's bad for you. It's illegal. Like, you shouldn't do it, But I feel like if we learned why, the why behind things.
I mean, did you ever watch that movie in health class about that Celtic player?
Yeah. I'm blanking on the name. Chris Herron.
Chris Herron.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they show movies like that, and they have they bring in speakers sometimes, like people who've been clean for however many years, talk about their experience when they were addicted. So I mean, they do show the possible effects as a means to I guess either scare people or get them aware of stuff. And I don't know, it just really I guess hasn't been working.
Yeah, but maybe because it's a really tricky issue. It's not an issue. And I think it's that every area can be affected. Every area can be helped differently. You can't do the same thing in Ohio that you can do in Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., and try and expect to see the same results. Are there any other drugs that you think should be legalized or decriminalized? There's one other I have.
Well, like I said before, I think most drugs shouldn't be as enforced, I guess, criminally enforced as they are now. I think we should focus on rehabilitation centers and helping people with addiction rather than just locking them up. So,
in terms of the one drug that I think could be on the same plane as marijuana in terms of harmfulness, as a low level, is shrooms. Magic mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms. Just because humans have been using mushrooms for years, and they're a naturally growing thing. And if you look at all the data, how negative an impact a drug has on you, mushrooms is the lowest. And I think it's just one of those things it's more a stigma than anything. You know?
Societal.
Yeah, because there's that whole era, a lot of the people, the generation above us,
right?
Kind of in that
just say no. Or?
No, I'm talking about
Gen X,
or the baby boomers, or the people that grew up in kind of the don't say no war on drugs.
It's baby boomers, older Generation X people.
And then there's obviously there's to be some police force involved, but you can see how a war on drugs could go completely wrong. You're Filipino. Are you aware of what's going on in the Philippines with the war on drugs?
Yeah, I mean, it was really big, I guess, back a year or two ago when he first got elected, where they just do extrajudicial killings.
Who's the president?
Duterte. he was riding the populist wave, which is kind of what we talked about last episode.
Mm-hmm.
All these populist leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So he was just doing extrajudicial killings of not even just drug dealers, though, just drug users.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he didn't solve the drug problem in the Philippines. There's still a drug problem in the Philippines. But, I mean, I don't think it was ever as big as he made it out to be, and it was just a means to get him elected, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and which I thought, because last year's CADCA, there was, like, representatives from the Philippines.
Really?
I was like, that's completely inappropriate, like, with all the stuff that's going on, to have these members of the Philippines, but I guess...
That's the same plot as Kingsman. You ever watch that movie?
No, I never.
They round up all the drug users. I don't know what happened, but anyway, they were trying to kill them all.
They rounded up all the drug users in the United States. It'd be like 30% of the population.
Yeah.
It'd be like every famous movie star, every rapper, every. That's another point I want to get to.
Yeah.
Is that if you've listened to like rap lyrics, there's a lot more talk about like drugs and using drugs than I think like in past years. You know, like,
as of late?
As of lately. I'm talking like literally the song Mask Off by Future, like Percocet, Molly Percocet, a lot of popping pills, a lot of... I think that has an impact on the youth and the people using drugs if they listen to this music and see these celebrities that they look up to, you know, talking about doing lean and doing, you know, Xans, having a fucking rapper named Lil Xan. You know, like, I think that kind of desensitizes them to the drug and makes it more like they're going to be more open to doing it.
I guess, I mean, it's better than them rapping about just killing people straight up, though.
Yeah, but there still is a lot of rapping about killing people.
Yeah, definitely is. But, I mean, I don't know what to say there.
Yeah.
I guess it could affect him, but...
it could. I just wanted to point that out because I think it's definitely something... You listen to rap from, like, the 90s and even earlier 2000s, no one's talking about doing lean and Percocets. And
it may just be the fact that rap has just, as of late, I think it's even... right now the most popular genre of music, and it's just gotten so popular amongst a wide group of audiences that like these rappers now aren't the same type of people who were rapping in the 90s, right? They aren't, a lot of these kids aren't poor anymore, or even if they are poor, start out poor, they become rich, and they don't even know what to do with all that money, right? Like people like 6ix9ine still going out committing petty crimes.
I know.
And they're rich. They have like millions of dollars. He doesn't need to be doing something.
I don't know.
Like that.
I don't know with that guy. Like what on earth? Like, how would you have that inclination to do the, like, slightest illegal thing? They should be thanking their stars every day that they were able to come up and, like rich. Yeah. They're set. And they just do a crime, throw it all away. Lil Pump was kind of funny. He got arrested for underage driving. Or driving without a license. Which I think is kind of funny. Like, you're this famous rapper, you can't get your fucking driver's license. Like,
yeah.
But that could also be, like, going back to... you know, racial profiling, you said. Like, you were talking about it with, you know, the drug crimes.
Right.
You know, it unfairly targets minorities. You could talk about that with any crime. Lil Pump getting arrested for driving without a license could be an effect of the,
his privilege.
because he's Hispanic, right?
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, Gazi Garcia. Because I know kids personally that have been arrested for driving without a license. There was a kid on the freshman football team when I was in 8th grade. He was in 9th grade. He got arrested for driving without a license. I don't know if it was public indecency, but he was getting sucked off in the car. And there was drugs in the car.
Oh, yeah.
And he got a slap on the wrist. And Lil Pump is famous. He's like a world-famous guy with all the money in the world. Happens to be Hispanic. He gets arrested. And
it was just for driving without a license? That's it?
And he actually did time.
Really? For that?
Yeah.
Someone asking, like, what he's in here for? Like, yeah, you know, he's driving without a license.
I know. But he probably went to one of those, like, celebrity white-collar jails.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, he's rich. I don't think it's a problem. I mean, obviously it's easier for people like that. It's like, if Martha Stewart got arrested, like, it's not... She's doing fine. It was actually insider trading, but, like, she's doing fine. But, like, I mean, 21 Savage got arrested by, like, ICE. Yeah. But I think they dropped the charges on him, actually.
Yeah. Did you know 21 Savage was British? Was
that,
like, a known thing? No
one knew.
He was a closeted...
Because he always talks about growing up in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, and he was a closeted Brit.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he moved here when he was, like, 7, I think.
Yeah.
So he's definitely from Atlanta at this point.
Yeah.
So I can't blame him. I'm just surprised. One, I think he got arrested once when he was in 2014. So and they didn't find out there, probably because I don't think law enforcement reports to ICE. And we actually talked about this in our Gov class. They don't have to report to ICE. So maybe they knew, they just didn't report it. And then I'm just surprised he hasn't tried to leave the U.S. Since then. And even if he did, like, why would he try if he knew he didn't have his visa expired a while back?
Yeah, and I didn't even know. I think it was a big secret because I remember looking at Wikipedia like a year ago.
I looked at Wikipedia the day he got arrested, and he didn't even say it until later.
Yeah, and that's kind of weird. I don't know how you could live your whole life and just like your whole career just no one checked.
Yeah,
no one checked. Like it said he was born in Dominica. Yeah. In his Wikipedia before it was changed to
his parents. He might have been born in Dominica, but like his parents are British, I think.
You know, Dominica is the only flag in the world. Fun fact: Dominica is the only flag in the world that has the color purple in it.
Is it the one with the bird on it?
Yeah, it's like a green flag, and then it has a quetzal, a purple quetzal. Just wanted to interject. It's a pretty fun fact. Only flag in the world with purple on it. It's Dominica. Going back to the topic of drugs, are there any drugs that you would be interested in trying? There are some. I could tell you shrooms. Right off the bat for me, I really want to try shrooms. I think that, I don't know. It's just everything I've heard. You hear, like, you see guys on, like, I saw this one guy, I forget his name, on the Joe Rogan podcast. He was like a shroom farmer. Like, he knew everything there was to know about shrooms. And he was talking about how it, like, it was enlightened you. And that shit sounds dope. Also, do you know what DMT is?
No.
DMT is a hallucinogen. It's probably the strongest hallucinogen. Listen, it's crazy. So you smoke it, right? And you're smoking your DMT. It hits you, you pass out. And if this is breaking through, you have to smoke a lot of DMT to break through. You know?
Yeah.
But you break through, you get transported into this world with, like, creatures, like, you're passed out, but you're tripping absolute fucking sack, you know? And you're just transported to this world with these creatures and everything. And people can't even, like, describe with words what they see and how they feel. And there's even, like, reported incidents of people doing DMT floating out of their bodies and being able to turn around and see themselves passed out.
That's just wild.
I think that's another thing. I think psychedelics kind of get a bad rap getting warped into because they're not, and my knowledge of this may be a little more broad than yours, but they are not, like, psychedelics are pretty harmless within reason, you know, everything in moderation, and they get kind of a bad rap being, like, thrown in with, being grouped together with other drugs. I think I don't think you could put a drug like shrooms or even marijuana that's considered a hallucinogen on the same level as, like, a cocaine or a meth or fentanyl. Fentanyl now is like thing I wonder is, are people addicted to fentanyl or are people just dying from fentanyl, like, laced?
I have no idea, but like I said, like, I think rehabilitation things centers is important. So
more rehabilitation, but is there any drug that you would be that you want to try?
I don't know. Probably just start with weed, but I don't know.
Yeah, gateway drugs.
Slippery slope.
Yeah. Pretty soon Gabe's going to be a heroin addict.
Yeah, I'll move to Ohio and then...
Yeah, move to Kentucky and start abusing prescription opioids. No, do you think there's a drug problem or, like, any drug issues in Massachusetts? Think you'll see any?
In Massachusetts?
I know New Hampshire is the Manchester, New Hampshire is considered the drug capital of the United States.
I don't know. I mean, I already have a problem enough that MIT is, like, one of the highest suicide rates of any college.
Do they have those nets under the bridge? I know they have them at Cornell.
I think at Cornell they need that at Cornell though, because, like, Cornell is, like, in the middle of nowhere. So like, if you want to prove your theory even more, it's like nothing you can do in Ithaca.
Theory.
But I don't know.
At MIT, you don't know if they have the nets under the bridge?
No, I don't think they have nets. It's in Boston. So
I don't know how you could go from, like, visit a school and be crossing a bridge and it's like, there's nets.
Oh, if I see nets.
I don't know if I want to go to this school,
Yeah, I don't know.
But
one thing we should talk about also is Virginia politics as of late with the whole governor situation.
Yeah. What do you think? What's your take on it? I'll let you talk and then I'll give my 2 cents on it.
All right. Well, one, I think when the picture came out, I thought Governor Northam should resign. And just to give the backstory in case someone, like, doesn't know, they released a picture of Ralph Northam from the yearbook with some guy in blackface and some guy in the KKK hood. And then Northam apologizes for it immediately. And then, like, the next day, he says, after looking at the picture more, I did do blackface 1 point, but that is not me in the picture. and he actually never said who he was in the picture. So there was a time when people didn't even know if he was in blackface or if he was the guy under the. I don't know which one is better or worse. But I think some people like saw the pants that the guy in blackface was wearing and like it matched some other pants he was wearing. But either way, I think he should resign, even if it was like in 1970 or no, it was like 1986. Mm-hmm. So, but even if it wasn't like 1968,
but he was still a grown ass man.
He was grown. It was medical school too. So this is after college.
Yeah,
I didn't know medical schools had yearbooks.
I didn't know medical schools had people in the KKK and doing blackface too.
But I think he resigned. The only problem with him resigning is that then Lieutenant Governor Fairfax would be governor, and I think that a rapist is worse than someone who did blackface. But what do you think about it?
So Ralph Northam, I think, first off, just like, come on, man. Like, it's one thing if you're like growing up in the sticks of Virginia that's culturally accepted in like middle school or high school, or maybe like freshman, sophomore year of college. You do blackface depending on like where you are in college, you know?
Yeah.
That's one thing. That is, it sounds bad, but I can accept that. You know, if that's like the culture you grow up in, you're still young, you're still under that umbrella of influence.
I guess.
From the people around you. But in medical school?
Yeah, he's old.
In medical school, you're like 28. And with the smartest mind. Do you know where he went to medical school?
No.
I'm gonna Google this just because you're at with the smartest mind.
I mean, I think it was in Virginia. Not discounting any medical schools in Virginia. But yeah, I mean, he should definitely be self-aware that whatever he was doing. And matter of fact, I didn't even know he was a doctor.
Yeah, neither did I. There's actually, I feel like there's a number of doctors in politics.
Which is good. I think they need more
Eastern Virginia Medical School. I've never heard of that. He went to VMI.
Yeah, and you know who else went? Same with that. The Senate Majority Leader from Virginia. He said that he edited a yearbook that had blackface in it at VMI. And then also there's the the Attorney General who also did blackface, and he came out.
Also did blackface.
So I don't know what's happening with Virginia politics. That it must be like a requirement that you did blackface in school.
I know. It's like you check here. It's like you're filling out the form to vote. Did you do blackface?
Yeah, and then of course the only one who didn't do blackface was some guy who assaulted. Yeah, the black guy
who happened to be a rapist too.
Assaulted 2 women.
I was disappointed. I liked Fairfax.
I didn't know much about him, and I don't really follow Virginia politics.
Charismatic, black guy.
He was like the second black guy ever to be elected to like a statewide office in Virginia, which is crazy.
He happened to be a racist.
Yes, rapist.
Rapist. My bad.
And then, best part is that the next guy in line. So if all 3 of them resign, the next guy in line is the House Majority Leader, who's only the House Majority Leader because there's one election in Virginia which got tied. It was tied like 514 to 514 exactly after a recount. So to pick the winner, they just pick the name out of a bowl. So that's how the Republicans got a majority in the House of Delegates in Virginia, and that's why it's a Republican state.
It's a shit show. But I don't know, dude. Because do you know the Attorney General, what his deal was with the blackface? Was he in medical school too?
he definitely. I think he was older than high school. It was like I think maybe in his 80s also. There's no pictures of it. He just came out and came out and said it. Like read the statement below on his Twitter.
I know that's the thing that confuses me because I guess he was worried about people finding out eventually, but if there's no pictures of it, no one was gonna.
I don't know. I know the Democrats are doing bad in Virginia, but what were the Republicans doing this whole time that they didn't find this yearbook?
Yeah. Like, what's Ed Gillespie?
Yeah, if I was Ed Gillespie, I'd fire all my staff members. The fact that they didn't find that in the yearbook, and who's the guy who ran Perriello? He was like the Bernie Democrat who ran against Northam in the primaries.
Oh, Tom Perriello.
Perriello, like. I'd be mad at my staff members too if they didn't find that. Come on, like it's in a yearbook. All you had to do was scan through it. That would have. Oh man, I can't believe that.
I know. It's crazy, especially because it's Virginia. You know, our state. If it was Arkansas or like Mississippi or Alabama, that's one thing. But Virginia's pretty progressive. Like
not in my Virginia, where the capital Confederacy was.
Yeah, but still, Virginia for the past 10, 15 years.
Maybe they still had the
blue state.
The Voting Rights Act still applying to Virginia up until like 5 years ago when they repealed it finally. So like they still had to get approved by Congress if they wanted to change anything. So I definitely, I can see it. And these guys grew up in like Roanoke, Virginia, or places like that. So I can definitely see it.
Worse than Roanoke. They're like, this guy was Northam. I just had his Wikipedia up. He's from Nassawadox, Virginia, a town with 572 people.
On the Eastern Shore.
Eastern Shore, yeah. So this is the middle of fucking nowhere. So I'm sure he was not that far from any racists.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
still,
yeah, our views obviously like changed because we live in Northern Virginia.
Mm-hmm. And then Fairfax. Do you know like any more details about his allegations? Because all I know is that there's 2 rape allegations against him.
I think the first lady was like, I can't remember what it was. Like they were kissing, and then he like forced her to give him a blowjob or something. Mm. But other than that, I don't know. I just know 2 allegations. And I mean, there's a whole debate like innocent until proven guilty. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I guess innocent. He should definitely be seen as innocent in the eyes of the law. But I think in the eyes of like public opinion, that it's fair to say that he's probably a rapist.
Yeah, probably. I think that's the issue with a lot of the sexual assault and rape is that it ends up you can't really get a lot of evidence. You can't get a lot of evidence of sexual assault or rape. It's always going to be he says, she says, unless you have like actual cell samples.
Some yearbook photos of it.
Yeah, or yearbook photos of someone getting raped. Yeah. But I think a lesson learned from Ralph Northam is if you are going to do stupid racist shit, which here at Slightly Educational we don't condone.
That's correct.
Don't take a photo. Don't take a picture. And don't put the picture in the... I want to know who the yearbook editor is.
Probably someone like the Senate Majority Leader who edited yearbooks.
Was someone like, hey, maybe let's not put someone in the KKK in our yearbook.
I mean, it was whatever East Virginia Medical School,
Eastern Virginia Medical School.
In 1986. Even if they thought someone was going to see that, it'd be people from Eastern Virginia who wouldn't care.
I think there were any black people at that medical school?
I think the story was that there were because it was like just integrated or something. But I don't know. I think the best course of action for the Democrats would be like have Fairfax resign first, so they can appoint a new lieutenant governor, and then hopefully they're not a racist or a rapist.
Yeah, or both. That's the one thing worse. That's gonna be Murphy's Law. You're gonna appoint a new guy, and he's gonna be a rapist and a racist.
Yeah, but none of them want to resign. And there was actually a poll that I saw that said like 47% of people don't want him to resign. 47% of people do want Northam to resign, and like whatever the remaining like 6% don't have an opinion. And even among black people, especially, it was only 37% want him to resign, and the rest didn't want him to resign. So it's interesting to see like what people's opinions on it are. For the sake of Virginia, I want him to resign.
You know what I mean? For the sake of not living in the state that has a guy that did blackface as governor and a rapist as a lieutenant governor. I mean, it's too late now. Like everyone knows now. So it's already a joke. Yeah. I guess it's better than Illinois. I think Illinois, like 4 out of the last 7 governors are like currently in jail. Jesus Christ.
To be fair, one of our governors was in jail, Bob McDonnell.
Oh, Bob McDonnell, yeah.
So it's not going that well.
I know. What is it with governors?
I guess it's an easy position to abuse, I guess.
Yeah.
Or it leads to some of these people. Did you see that press conference with Ralph Northam where they asked him, like Mr. Governor, can you still moonwalk? He was like, he was looking around to see if he had enough room, and then his wife's like, that's inappropriate. He was about to do it, too.
My God. I think, personally, if I was to have a position in politics, it'd be governor.
Like, if you could just choose one?
Yeah. Just because...
Why governor?
I don't know. I feel like it's pretty independent, like, from the whole federal system, And you're kind of like the boss of your own state. But, I don't know. It just seems, like, cool. Just being the boss of the state, I'd be like governor of California. I'd be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That always impresses me that he was... That's talk about, like, the American dream. Coming over from Austria, starring in, like, 5 Terminator movies, and then becoming governor of California.
Yeah.
That's, like... And being the world's strongest man at one point.
He was the world's strongest man?
Yeah.
How do they determine that? Like, heaviest weight, or...?
I think it's...
I don't think it's heaviest weight, cause, yeah.
I think it's, like, just maybe a competition. I'm not sure. Maybe, like, total weights lifted. But it's the same thing as, like, being Miss Universe.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah.
It's kind of a title. But still, that's... Talk about one, like, heck of a life.
No, yeah, it's definitely, and there were even talks about like, because like he wasn't born in the U.S., but there were talks about like, should they change the like laws about the president so like people like Arnold Schwarzenegger could run?
I don't think he'd win the presidency.
I don't think so. You never know. I mean, people like Donald Trump winning now.
Yeah, you never fucking know. With Donald, like, still feels like we're living in an episode of South Park.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, when we filmed the first episode 2.5 years ago, so that was before the election. Because I remember on the first episode not the first episode, but like that day we filmed all those episodes, we were talking about stuff like the Brexit the Brexit thing just happened. I think like a couple days before we were talking about that, and I think that when Brexit happens, I thought, oh yeah, Donald Trump's definitely gonna win.
You thought?
Yeah,
I thought it took me a while. My first thought that Donald Trump was gonna win was when I saw he was getting all the media attention after not the first Republican debate, or was it there was one Republican debate where he just got all the attention. It was just saying all the shitty stuff. It was the one where he was roasting Jeb Bush.
I was like all of it.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god. But he played his cards right. He the media pandered to him.
Yeah, I mean, there's all the statistics about how often he appeared on the news compared to all his other opponents, and it was a lot more than everyone else.
Do you think he'll win re-election? I think we talked about that in the last episode.
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't think he's going to win re-election. We talked about who had the best chance of beating him.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's not talk about the same thing we talked about the first episode. Back to Virginia politics. I don't know what's going to happen. None of these guys want to resign, but I think they all should.
Yeah.
Even if it ends up with a Republican legislator, I think it's important to stay consistent with your values. And I guess
I'd rather have a Republican than a rapist or a racist.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the argument is that you can change your opinion, right? So people like Hillary Clinton changing her opinion on gay marriage and stuff like that. So there's just an argument to be made about people, I guess, learning about their mistakes. It's hard to make up for being in blackface though. It's not the same. Blackface is not the same as casual racism.
He's gonna do something. I'm surprised he's not living at the NAACP.
I can't believe he used this Michael Jackson impersonation as an excuse. That should be the easiest thing for white people to do because he was white when he was most famous.
You want to? I guess at that point he was still kind of black.
It was
1986.
Maybe.
He was on the verge. He was it was a transition period.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
But
I can't believe that.
Yeah. That if anything, that makes it worse. It's one thing to do blackface, but to do blackface dressing up as someone else. You could easily have a Michael Jackson costume without the blackface. You could have a Mr. T costume without the blackface. People are still going to know who you are.
Yeah,
you know
I guess.
What I mean?
Yeah. I guess. I mean, that picture specifically. Obviously, that picture wasn't Michael Jackson. I don't recall any time Michael Jackson was next to some KKK member, but I don't know.
Maybe we have the information all wrong, and it was a themed party, and it was a racist themed party.
Does that make it better? It probably was a racist. I don't think he was doing it for just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
I think he was it was a theme.
Have you ever seen the movie Dear Black People? Dear White People.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it. I wanted to.
That's one of the plot points is that there's a black themed party. I'm not going to give too much away from the movie if you haven't seen it, but at the end there's a black themed party. Because you've seen it, there's a lot of cases of kids at Oklahoma, or was it Syracuse or Missouri, or one of those big state schools where they had an actual black themed party, which
so it was just all white kids
white kids purple drank blackface just all the fucking stereotypes, fried chicken, watermelon, wife beaters, do-rags. No, I'm talking they pulled out all the stuff. That's real shit that happens in real life.
There's I was gonna say a lot of times I'm pretty sure most white people in the South are partially black. People always do these 23andMe and they find out one's 22nd Nigerian. So I was gonna ask what's the threshold for if you're half black, can you do blackface? Or is it ever okay to do blackface?
I mean, you're half black.
Yeah, could I?
Could you do blackface? I feel like it'd be a little redundant.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see a scenario which I would need to do blackface. I want to be some dark skinned guy.
Yeah.
I don't know how well that'd go down, but a lot of people don't even know that I'm only half black.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I feel like black. This is gonna sound a little uneducated by me, but black is the dominant gene.
Yeah, phonology wise, I guess. I mean, some people found out from last episode that I was half black. But yeah, I don't know. I guess people wouldn't really have a problem. No one's gonna call me racist for putting on blackface because like
you're black.
I'm black.
It's the same thing with using the N-word.
Yeah,
it's like if you said the N-word, no one would be like, Gabe.
Yeah, you said nigga, what?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think, I don't know, the N-word isn't really comparable to blackface. Do you have, this is what I want our closing thoughts to be on the N-word, because it's interesting. You don't get a lot, like, as a white guy in a predominantly white area with predominantly white friends, not on purpose, but just the way things are. I've always wanted to have this conversation with black. How do you feel about the N-word? Do you think it's like a cancer of the English language? Do you think everyone should be able to say it? Do you like it how the way it is? Or it's kind of like the word black people?
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't really, if someone says it, it's like, I don't really have a problem, I guess. Not that they should necessarily say it, but like, if they're singing a song and they just say it because they forget to whatever, censor it out or whatever, I'm not going to get mad at them. I'm not going to threaten them or anything. I think that people tend to forget the meaning behind the word, or like how it was used and why people get offended when people use it, because it's definitely it has a history and it has just historical connotations about people. I guess people definitely feel threatened about it. So when people when white people say nigga or anything like that, it's just, I don't know, it's a hard issue. I don't get mad when people say it. I prefer if they didn't say it around me, but I don't.
Do you ever use it? Actually, I don't know.
All my friends are white, so
yeah.
but
I don't have anyone to refer to.
No, I use it like me and my brother. I'll use it with my brother or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like other than that, like I said, I go to Yorktown, so most of my friends aren't black.
Yeah.
So I don't really use it that often.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll use it on if I sing songs. I'll use it, but other than that, not really.
That was like, as a white person, that is the thing. Of all the plights of African Americans, that's you being able to use the N-word makes being black seem
man, I wish I was black so I
a
could
little
say
more
the N-word.
attractive. Yeah, I've definitely thought that sometimes, because it's a cool sounding word. Like, and I'm not gonna try and talk myself into a hole, because I know if I keep talking about this topic, then it's just gonna inevitably sound more and more.
When you become
racist.
Virginia governor, it'll
Yeah,
pop up.
yeah,
Someone will
it'll
find
come back at me. People will be like, Seth, well, you're talking about the N-word so much on your podcast. But there's definitely been instances where I have claimed to wish that I was African American solely to use the N-word. But I feel like a lot of people forget the plights of the African Americans, and that word comes out of, really racist.
I guess the argument for it, using it, would be like, I always hear like taking power away from the word. Mm-hmm. So people would say like it's kind of like with queer, like it used to be like a bad word, but people it's used now, obviously. It's in the LGBTQ whatever acronym. So using it more often can take away power from the word, but then people still get in trouble for using words like retarded or faggot, like Eminem did. He got in trouble. And then Rich Sugar in his song used nigga in his song, but then when he did the lyrics video, he didn't say it. He said the N-word. Or he said like N-word.
But 6ix9ine uses the N-word like nobody's business.
Yeah, Hispanics, especially in New York, typically get like a pass for it.
I know, which I don't understand.
I mean,
Hispanics have kind of claimed it as their own.
Yeah, I don't know. People don't really care when Hispanics say it. I guess it depends what it's like. If you're from Spain, I don't think people might get mad.
If Paul Gasol or Rafael Nadal said the N-word, that probably wouldn't go over too well.
But yeah, I think Puerto Ricans, Dominicans use it all the time. But a lot of Dominicans are black, so I guess they get a pass anyway. Yeah, and
there was another word. Oh, have you ever seen Donald Glover? His stand-up comedy, it's Weirdo on Netflix.
Ooh, I haven't.
He has a bit. I definitely recommend it. It's real good. And he has a bit where he talks about the only way to take the power away from the N-word is if white people start saying it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about.
He was just like, all white people need to start saying it. He's like, calling all white people, just start saying it, which I think would have some very bad repercussions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that would work.
How do you feel like soft A versus hard R? Do you see them as like two separate words?
Yeah, if you say nigger, then you're not meaning that. There's no irony in it. It's like, definitely a racist. Like, you ever hear Lucas Joyner's song, I'm Not Racist? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they use nigger in that song, and that guy's clearly racist. Or the guy who they're supposed to be portraying is clearly racist. So definitely...
Joyner Lucas.
What else?
Lucas. Lucas Joyner.
Yeah, Joyner Lucas. So, yeah, if you say nigger with a hard R, then definitely... sounds to quote Donald Glover, it sounds weird.
Yeah, sounds weird, and I think that's a good place to wrap up. So that concludes this episode. I'm Seth.
I'm Gabe,
and we'll see you guys next time. Follow, subscribe on whatever platform you're using. Make sure you keep updated so you can see the next episode we have, and stay cool. Don't drop the hard R. Anything you want to say?
No, that's it.
All right,
like us on iTunes.
Yeah, peace out, guys.
I guess the question is, one more thing is, what should I censor in this podcast? Do I censor the N-word in this podcast?
I don't know. I talk about taking power away from the word.
Do I take power away from the word?
Maybe not censor it. We can talk about that more with the post editing, but and let us know what you guys think.
I'll probably censor it just to keep I don't know. I don't even know how family ratings work. Cause like you can curse.
Are we considered a G rated?
I have no idea, but like especially this podcast, a lot of the topics we talked about definitely wouldn't be like some family friendly topics. I'll probably censor it anyway, just because I think it sounds funnier if something's censored.
Yeah, but, censor it with the soft A and the hard R.
Ooh,
just the latter.
Maybe even censor N-word, just censor our words.
Every time I say the N-word.
Some people think you're saying the N-word.
Yeah, that might not go over as well,